Hi, in this video, we're going to learn how to find the sample size if we would like to conduct a study on a certain population proportion. As you can see on the screen, this is the formula that we have to use in finding the sample size. The sample size is denoted by n, and we need the z of alpha over 2, and this will depend on the confidence level that you want to set for your study. The p-hat in this formula is the sample proportion of a recent study. The q-hat, on the other hand, is basically 1 minus the p-hat. For instance, if the p-hat is 0.8, then q-hat is basically 0.2. The e in this formula is the margin of error. So now that we know the components of the formula, it will now be easy for us to compute for the sample size. So let's consider the following. Suppose that a recent study was conducted to know the proportion of the consumers preferring a particular toothpaste brand call-up over the other brands. Based on this study, out of 300 respondents, 142 of them said that they prefer call-up over the other toothpaste brands. Now, since you are assigned as the new researcher, if you are going to conduct another study of the consumer's preference of call-up over the other brands, how large should your sample be if you want the margin of error to not exceed 5% at 99% confidence level? So let us use our formula. So the sample size again is n is equal to the z of alpha over 2 squared p hat q hat over the margin of error squared. Now the z of alpha over 2 will depend on the confidence level set here, which is 99% confidence level. So again, if we have to construct a confidence interval using the 99% confidence level, the z of alpha over 2 that we have to use is 2.576. So that means our computation is, this is equal to z of alpha over 2 for 99% confidence level, that is 2.576, and this will be squared. The p hat is our sample proportion from the recent study. Now from the recent study, the p hat is x over n, and it says that 142 out of 300 respondents said that they prefer call-up. 142 over 300 is equal to 0.4733. So that means our q hat, which is equal to 1 minus p hat, is 1 minus 0.4733, which is equal to 0.5267. So going back to our setup, so this will now become 0.4733 times 0.5267 divided by the margin of error, according to our problem, is it should not exceed 5%. So that means E is equal to 0.05. So this will be 0.05, and from the formula you have to square. And then all we have to do is to compute this by using our calculator. This value is equal to 661.6854, and for sample size, it's always rounding up. So 661.6854 is taken as 662. So this is the sample size that we need if we are going to conduct a new study about the toothpaste brand Call-Up. So note that this was obtained because we restricted our sample, well, the proportion to not exceed 5%, and also the value is dependent on the confidence level 99%. So previously, the recent study was done on 300 respondents. This time, if we will do a new study, we have to ask 662 respondents in order for us to satisfy the conditions set. So that is how we find the sample size when we want to conduct a study on proportion. Now, in another video, I'll be showing a case in which there is no recent study. Okay, note that this formula is dependent on the p-hat of the recent study. But what if we do not know any information about a recent study? How will the formula change? That will be the focus of the other video. But for this, so to sum it up, to find the n, the sample size, you need the z of alpha over 2, which is dependent on the confidence level set on the study, the p-hat, the sample proportion of a recent study, the q-hat, which is dependent on the p-hat, and the e, or the margin of error, that is set for the study. Okay, so if you know how to put the numbers in the components of this formula, the finding of the sample size for proportion should not be difficult. Okay, so that is all for this video. Thank you.